hesitant too when it came to leaving out the house. But we have to remember the Most High told Lot, now don't what look back. So he's giving us example of what we need to do in those times. Later on, within this lesson, we're going to get more understanding on what he meant by don't look back. We're going to get more understanding on that. So remember, Lot's wife looked back and got turned into a what? Pillar of salt, right? To this day, she's still standing as a pillar of salt. All right. So that's one thing we understand, right? So also, I am going to show you guys a couple other scriptures. Let's see. Share the screen here. All right. So we understand what we ought to look for and some signs we ought to look for. So now we about to get more down to the social aspect of it and how people are going to be acting and how people are going to be moving at this time, and what should you avoid and what should and how should you move, right? Be as wise as a serpent but as harmless as a dove, right? All right, so when we go to, let's go to second Esdras. This is your apocrypha. Now, if you get a King James 1611, you'll find the apocrypha right directly in the middle of that thing, right? All right, so let's read a couple scriptures. All right. Now, let's go to verse 34. Okay. 34 says, right? Excuse me, verse 14. All right, so verse 14 says, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. So plagues is coming. What are those plagues? He's about to mention those plagues. He also mentioned some of those plagues in what? Matthew 24, when he spoke of wars and rumors of wars, earthquakes in diverse places, pestilences, famines. Those are all plagues. A famine is a plague, right? So he spoke of some of these plagues right here. He says, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth, right? Verse 15. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundations of the earth. Like as the arrows which is shot of a mighty archer return not backwards, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again, right? Woe is me, woe is me. Who would deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famines and great death. Now, this takes us back what to Matthew 24 when Christ said, right? This is the beginning of sorrows. Christ said the same thing in Matthew 24. Now we understand that these precepts leak. The beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars. See this? The beginning of wars and powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? So he about to tell us, what shall we do when these evils come? Right? This is what we need to know. This is all the understanding that we need to dodge the destruction that's coming. The first thing we need to do is be right with the Most High. Get ourselves right. Follow the Most High law, statutes, and commandments, right? All right, so when we scroll down, it says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish, right, are sent as a scorches for amendment. But for all these things, they should not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of their scores. See this? So what this is basically telling us is this. Doing all this stuff and doing all these events of everything happening, there's going to be stuff going on in the earth where people, even though they are going through plagues and tribulation and anguish, even though they're going through all this stuff, they're still not going to turn from their evil ways. They're still not going to turn from the wickedness. They're still going to continue to do what they've been doing. Right? Verse 21. Behold, virtue shall be so good cheap upon the earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow up on the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. And that's exactly what's going on right now in the world. Great confusion. And we know Satan is the author of confusion. Verse 22. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of what? Famine. This is what Christ, going back to what Christ spoke of. Famine. So what this means? Get your food. Get your resources. Get your bug out bags. Start getting prepared, right? This is what this means. When you hear there's a famine coming, what did Joseph do, right? Stay the earth. Prepared Egypt. We must prepare ourselves, right? Verse 22. And for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So the ones that escape the hunger, the sword is going to destroy. So some people going, think they good because they, eating and enjoying life at the time, and got food on the table and their kids is eating. But the Most High is saying, even them that escape the famine is still gonna get hit with this, right? Excuse me. So now we scroll down to verse. Remember, we in Second Ezra chapter 16. This is verse 22. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. All right. So the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. When we scroll down here to verse 40, follow me to verse 40, y'all. All right. Now the Most High about to give us more examples on what we need to do. What we need to do. All right. What instructions do we have? Do we stay? Do we leave? Do we buy food? What do we do? That's what we're trying to find out so far. So far, what we do know is we going to have to buy food, right? We're going to have to buy resources to sustain, right? Verse 40 says, "O my people," talking to us, "hear my word. Make ye ready to die battle. And in those evils be even as pilgrims on the earth." So he's saying we're going to have to like stick and move. We're going to have to move. We're going to have to pick up, carry, keep going, keep moving. All right. And he's going to give us examples. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away. And he that buy, as one that will lose. So somebody that's buying some stuff, just know that you're going to have to run away from that stuff. Whatever you got, whatever you have, whatever precious car or house you have, just know that one day that stuff can be a loss, okay? Verse 42. He that occupy merchandise as he that has no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that should not throw therein. Remember, he said, remember Lot's wife. Why are you not going to throw in? Because you're going to have to leave. Okay, we have to remember those examples. He that soweth as if he should not reap. So also he that planted the vineyard, as he that shall not gather grapes. Okay, see that? They that marry, what? In the days of Lot. In the days of Lot, remember this, they're going to be marrying and all that, just like the days of Lot. Verse 44 say, if they that marry, as they that shall get no children. Why? Because men gonna die. And they that marry not, as the widower. Why? Because there will be no man to marry him, right? And therefore, they that labor, what? And they, therefore, that labor what? In vain. So all the work you doing, all that you putting in, if it's not for the Most High in Christ, you laboring in vain. You laboring in vain, family. All right. Why? Why are you laboring in vain? Excuse me. Why are you laboring in vain? All right. You laboring in vain because for strangers shall reap their fruits and spoil their goods and overthrow their houses and take their children captives, for in captivity and famine shall they get children. Right? Now watch this. The Most High gonna tell you what not to do. And they that occupy their merchandise with robbery. So them that's running around, robbing people, looting, and doing whatever they want to do, right? Having no account of the Most High, and they that occupy their merchandise with robbery, the more they deck their cities and their houses, their possessions, and their own persons, the more will I be angry with them for their sin, said the Most High. All right, so the Most High is telling us how he'll be completely angry with us if we continue to do what we do at that time. So if there's any kind of rise jumping off, any kind of protest jumping off, the Most High suggests that we don't follow the crowd. All right, we can't follow the people that's out there doing what they do. Okay, now let's go to 2nd Ezra 15. Follow me to 2nd Ezra 15. Okay, let's go to if we go to 2nd Ezra 15, we get more understanding on what people are going to be doing when it comes to the way social engineering is going to be, the way the streets is going to be, is people going to be able to freely move around. We understand that the Most High tell us to be as pilgrims. So are we going to be able to freely move around? According to the scriptures, I definitely believe we're going to need certain channels, right? Because when we go to 2nd Ezra 15 and 14, 2nd Ezra 15 and 14 says, woe to the world and them that, right? For the sword and their destructions draw it not. So it's close to coming. And one people should stand up, right, to fight against and swords in their hands. So this is people fighting, right? So this is that nation against nation Christ was talking about. One people should stand up to fight against another with swords in their hand, right? Verse 16. For there is sedition among men, invading one another, not regard to kings nor princes. Okay. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man should desire to go into a city and should not be able. So this is your streets being closed off. Why? Because it's going to go right back to what Christ was talking about, famines and great tribulations. Now watch this. For because of pride, follow me, verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their action shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and should not be able, right? So this is people being closed off from going into cities. This is people being closed off from moving around within this time, right? Why? For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and man shall be afraid. Verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of what? Because of lack of bread and great tribulation. So this shows you that there's going to be lack of food. All right, that's your famine. All right, so this is showing us to get bread, and this is showing us that great tribulation is ahead. Right now, if we go back to 2nd Ezra 16, let's go to Ezra 16. We're going to 2nd Ezra 16 and 51. Now, this is why I said don't be like them, right? Because the scripture, when we go to 51, it says, and therefore be ye not like thereunto, nor the works thereof. So the Most High is telling us, don't be like them. Don't do the things that they're doing. Follow my commandments, right? Now, verse 2, and iniquity shall be taken away out of the earth, and righteousness shall reign on you. This is Christ cleansing the earth. This is the Most High cleansing the earth. Once the Most High cleanse the earth, break our chains off of this captivity that these countries got us going through, sooner or later, there will be nothing but righteousness on this earth, just how we want it, right? Verse 53 says, let not that not sin, for the Most High shall burn coals of fire upon his head, which said before the Most High in his glory, I have not seen. Watch this. Behold, the Most High know all the works of men, their imagination, their thoughts, and their hearts. So the Most High know all of that stuff about us, y'all. Ain't no reason to fake the phone. Don't fake it. He already know. All right. So he know the works of men, their imagination, their thoughts in their hearts. Right now, 55 say, which speak but the word that the earth made, and it was made, that the heavens be made, and it was created. All right. Now, with that said, we have to stay diligent. All right. We have to stay diligent in the Most High. We got to stay in the scriptures. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe, and share. And with that, remember, Keep your faith and charity, because without charity, there's no love. Without love, there's no Christ. Shalom.